Salute, salute. I'm gonna cut the intro. We are monitoring through Court TV, via Court TV, the day one of the Carmelo Anthony trial, everybody. So I'm told you I'm gonna stay glued to this. Let me take this a little ahead, man.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. Thank you for being with us this afternoon as we track a very big case that is happening out in the state of Texas. A high school track meet ended in a 17-year-old's death. And now the trial is getting national attention. People are divided, talking about race and self-defense. And today we are following day one of Karmelo Anthony's murder trial happening out there in McKinney. And inside of that courtroom now, they have taken a break. We've been following those live notes all day, and we're going to check in with Cody Thomas in just a moment. But where we're at right now is after the first witness was called by the state, a forensic video analyst was the one who was testifying to multiple wide-angled surveillance videos that the prosecution admitted was not crystal clear. But while playing that video, there was some reaction in the gallery. Now, cameras are not allowed inside of this courtroom, but they're on the ground. In Frisco, we have our own Cody Thomas, who is following everything that's happening. Let's take a look back. Even though we don't have those cameras, we do have the defense attorney, Mike Howard, what he said before the gag order was put in place in this case.
We expect that when the full story is heard, the prosecution will not be able to rule out the reasonable doubt that Karmelo Anthony may have acted in self-defense. Self-defense is a fundamental right guaranteed every American. The law is clear. When self-defense is raised by the facts, the law puts the burden squarely on the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the citizen accused did not act in self-defense. The law does not expect or require the citizen accused to prove that they acted in self-defense. It's actually the opposite. The law requires the prosecution to rule out the reasonable doubt that the citizen accused may have acted in self-defense.
Now let's go right now to someone who was inside of that courtroom listening to these opening statements. No cameras, but we have our eyes and ears inside of the courtroom. Cody Thomas joins us now live outside of the courthouse in McKinney, Texas. Cody, good to see you.
No cameras and no black jurors. No cameras and no black jurors. Let's go.
Tell me about those opening statements, first of all. What was it like being inside of the courthouse for those?
Well, yeah, Julia, as we know this judge is really laying down the law inside that courtroom, being very strict on how people go to and from the courtroom, and about, us as media using electronics. He even admonished members of the gallery for whispering to each other, saying, if you caught somebody whispering again, I didn't see anybody whispering, but, he just said if he saw that again, they'd keep them out. He'd kick them out permanently. But Julia, to touch on those opening statements, of course, the prosecution is continuing the narrative that we've heard from the beginning since April of 2025, that Karmelo Anthony was under that tent for no good reason. He was just there, and then Austin Metcalf and his friends came up to approach him to say, get out from under the tent, to which Karmelo Anthony, the prosecution says, got aggressive, reached in that bag, pulled out a knife, and stabbed Austin Metcalf. But the defense in their opening statements painted a different picture. They began by humanizing Karmelo Anthony, talking about how he had 2 jobs in high school, how he was, a brother, a son, an oldest brother, how he was a 3.7 GPA A student in school, just really painting him out to be a good human being before diving into their version of the facts of the case. Now, of course, we've heard that statement from eyewitnesses, or a witness on the stand, or on the stand in the area, saying that Karmelo reached into the bag saying, touch me if you want to, or see what happens if you touch.
But in the opening statements that they read, they said that Austin touched Karmelo, grabbed Karmelo, and went to grab him again. That right there proves self-defense in the opening statements. Y'all are gonna hear it. We're gonna follow this thing via court TV, but we're gonna stay glued to this case. We're going to stay glued to this, y'all.
Me, and that's what led when Austin pushed him, he stabbed him in the chest. But the defense attorney says it was more of a, as long as you don't touch me, we'll be cool, implying that, everything's fine. I understand there's a verbal altercation going on here, but just don't put your hands on me. So that was the narrative the defense painted there. They also said that Karmelo was under the tent because he was seeing somebody he was familiar with, a friend of his still girlfriend now, somebody he'd been acquainted with, somebody he recognized. And then they walked through some of that video, Julia, showing that Karmelo Anthony was under the tent for about 2 minutes before Metcalf, his twin brother, and their friends got to the tent, and the whole ordeal went down in about 4.5 minutes of both of them, both parties being under that tent.
That proves that they were coming to start the disarray. He was there for 2 minutes. There was nothing. Right after right after Austin Metcalf and his buddies got there, everything changed. The energy changed, ladies and gentlemen. The energy changed. This is clearly self-defense. I don't even know why they have Karmelo on trial right now. I don't know why they're ruining this young man's life, man.
Julia, but again, emotional out here. I'm looking around it here. There's a lot more demonstrators than there were yesterday during jury selection. So, each side is here. It's a polarizing case, of course, that has caught many headlines across this country. But those opening statements were definitely powerful on either side.
Notes, Cody. We're so fortunate that you've been able to share with us what is happening inside of that courtroom. Tell us more about the surveillance video, because your notes on this were very interesting. What were you able to see? And then I also understand there was a reaction from the victim's family when that was being played.
Yeah, Julia. So that's in the opening statement. They were referencing surveillance video, and of course, everyone wants to see video. We haven't seen anything. There's been a gag order on this case since the very beginning last year. So they start playing this video. There are 5 different angles of the video getting walked through from testimony by the forensic video analyst. And they were very wide angle videos, Julia. And the witness had to talk about how he had to use this software to zoom in and try to make the video as clear as possible. And even then, Julia, I won't lie, it still looked very fuzzy and hazy. It definitely sets the scene. You can see what's going on, but...
Or maybe it's doctored and maybe someone has some type of independent video. It was a track meet. Someone there had to be recording their child participating in their event. Someone had to get this as independent footage. Someone had to get this. If it's that clear, it's doctored. It is doctored. We learned this from the Ryan Hinton case and the still shots that they put out. We know that it's doctored. We can't confide in that.
Even the prosecution distinctly said that you won't be able to uniquely identify anyone, but they referred to Karmelo on the video as the person of interest, and they referred to Austin Metcalf as the victim. Of course, as the forensic analyst has digested this video and dissected it and pointed out everything that we need to know, going through shoes and the type of clothing they were wearing. So we identified who each person was in the video, even though they kind of just looked like humanoid blobs. But you see... one thing that stood out to me, Julia, is that, I'm very familiar with track meets. I was under the impression that, when you go to a championship track meet, you have multiple tents on the same side of the bleachers. But in this video, because it's early in the morning, just before 10 a.m. when all this happened, the high school where all this went down, Memorial High School, it was just an isolated tent in the bleachers by itself. There were no surrounding, schools or anything in the general area. You saw some schools walking in, but I guess, the meet was just starting. But anyway, they identified Karmelo walking up the bleachers, kind of walking towards the tent. He kind of goes towards someone, and you see him standing there for a couple of minutes. Then you see Austin Metcalf, his twin brother, and his friends walking up and getting under the tent. And then once everything's happening under the tent, it just kind of looks like a blob of people. You can't really make out anything that's really going on for 5 to 6 minutes. And then you see a quick to and from. And they were implying that was like the push, the initial contact. You can't really see anything happening before then. You see people walking by. They're not really, turning heads as if something's loud and, something's catching their attention. But all of a sudden you see that to and from, and then you see Karmelo, or who they identify as person of interest, who we're assuming to be Karmelo Anthony. He runs out from under the tent, and then he's running down the bleachers, sprinting a ways away from the tent and out of the stadium onto the track and everything towards one of his coaches. And eventually after that, we see another angle of the video where Karmelo's been taken into custody by police. But the reaction, Julia, it wasn't a visceral reaction. When you saw the to and from, of course, that's the stabbing action, if you will. All I saw him sitting 2 rows behind Austin Metcalf's father, and his head was just kind of in his hands, kind of like this. Wasn't necessarily crying, but, just implying that he doesn't really want to see, even though he can't see the stabbing, but he knows in his mind this is the moment that his son lost his life. So he was just there, obviously overwhelmed by everything. I'm sitting right behind the Metcalf family. Carmelo Anthony's family is on the opposite side of the courtroom. But again, the video, not as impactful as I thought, but it definitely is a scene setter to help us understand.
There has to be an independent video by an independent witness, maybe a parent who was at that track meet that particular day. I refuse to believe that this is the only camera footage. Everyone uses cameras. I refuse to believe that this is the only camera footage of this incident. I don't know why, but just something inside of me tells me that someone has this on film and they kept quiet. They hadn't said anything, and well, there could be damning evidence or a damning witness or something that comes forward. There's something. There's something. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
Clear as to what's going on since we haven't seen anything so far in this case.
Incredible detail, Cody. You're setting the scene for us. Not being able to see what's going on in this case that has so many eyes on it is really helpful. You also broke some news for us earlier when it came to the jury. There have been a lot of questions about who's on this jury, what may be their demographics, how will that impact a case that has had a lot of polarization racially, especially online, even though we know these parties say, even the prosecution today in the opening saying this is not about race. But what have you observed about the racial makeup of this?
I don't understand how they're saying this isn't about race. If this isn't about race, then you would clearly see that this was self-defense because the shoe was on the other foot. And this was, a white teenager that had to unalive a black teenager because the black teenager was being a bully, then we wouldn't even have an argument or a court hearing right now. There would be none of that. None of that. So I don't see how they're even saying race doesn't matter. This is the only reason we have a trial because of race. Because of race.
This jury.
Yeah, Julia. So, of course, this with the optics of this case, this story here, young black kid, young white kid, violent crime. Of course, people are going to have their opinions. They're going to have their judgments. And, the jury was, that the makeup of the jury was in question. And so, of course, I was in jury selection yesterday, and that jury was seated around just after 5 p.m. yesterday. And I couldn't necessarily see the courtroom today. We saw reports last night that there was no African-American people.
All male jurors are white, 3 Asian women, 1 Middle Eastern woman, 1 other woman of color, 12 jurors, 6 alternates. This is not good. This is not good for young brother Karmelo. All male jurors are white. All male jurors are white. 3 Asian women. Asian women. Wasn't it an Asian that just walked free of unaliving Cyrus Belton? 1 Middle Eastern woman. What the hell she got to do with it? 1 other woman of color. What the hell is the woman of color? What is this? None of that says foundational Black Americans. None of that says Black Americans. But yet this has nothing to do with race, ladies and gentlemen. Yet this has nothing to do with race. I'll digress.
On the jury, and that held to be true. It's a majority white jury, of course, made up of men and women. There are 3 Asian women on the jury. One looks what looked to be a Middle Eastern woman.
Did you know over half of our jobs begin by removing a failed coding? Right now, we'll remove and dispose.
Total of 12 jurors, 6 alternates, so a total of 18, I guess I should say. But yeah, majority white jury. All the men are white as well. So the reports were true. No African American people on this jury. I remember yesterday during jury selection, the defense raised an objection to the prosecution's strikes. In the strike zone, there were 3 black female jurors that the prosecution wanted to strike, and that would have been all the African American jurors that were available at the time. And the prosecution says they did not strike them on a racial basis, but on an occupational basis because they were all educators, and they thought that would hold some sort of bias because all of this went down at a school. But the defense's objection was eventually denied by the judge, and the judge, granted the strikes on behalf of the prosecution. So those are the only 3 available African-American jurors at the time, right before the jury got seated. That objection got denied about 15 minutes before it was seated yesterday. So majority white jury, 3 Asian women, and 2 women of color, but no African-Americans at all.
Wow, and the judge saying that there were race-neutral reasons for the strikes of the African-Americans in that pool. Cody, Thomas, thank you for all of those details. I know you got to get back inside that courtroom and grab some lunch before you get back. So we will see you later on. There's no escaping how polarizing this trial is. Both Karmelo's mother and Austin Metcalf's father have spoken about the emotional toll here. And joining me now is someone who knows really better than anyone about a trial being this polarized.
They're saying that it's not about race. Oh, we know it's about race. We know it's about race.
He's an attorney who successfully defended George Zimmerman, who was accused of murdering Trayvon Martin. And that was a case that had issues of race and self-defense, and defined that trial as well. We have with us Mark O'Mara. Mark, it is so good to have you on. Thank you so much for joining me. I think you're an important voice here because whether you see it this way or not, there are many people online, people who are reacting to this case, and it often seems this way whenever we have a case where 2 different parties are of different races. You have a self-defense allegation and one is unarmed, the victim. There's often a reference to the Trayvon Martin.
Storm, I'm going to just ride it out. This is what I've been going through. I'm going to just ride it out. This is my second live today. It's the same thing regardless. People are working. It's a weekday. You know what I mean? I'm going to just ride it out. This is what it happens anyways.
Case, the George Zimmerman case. I want to ask your opinion. Do you see similarities here in this case?
Oh, no, there definitely are. It is undeniable. And we can't and really shouldn't even deny the harsh reality that race interposes itself on most criminal trials. It imposes itself on the criminal justice.
Yeah, this is what it always does. Yeah. This is what I go through on YouTube. So I just ride the waves.
The system as a whole. And it does so here in this case, only because they are of different races. Now, I'm not saying that Karmelo had any racial intent in his actions, but we as the observers, right, as the viewers of it, look at this and say, oh, obviously there's a racial component. There may have been nothing in either one of their minds the day that this happened, this tragedy occurred. But we look at it as lawyers and as commentators and say we have to be aware of it because we know, and I've argued for decades, that there's an undeniable bias existing in the criminal justice system against young black males. Used to be we could never even talk about it 20 years ago or so. Finally, we can talk about that undeniable bias, but it's there. And I would tell you, I'm very concerned that there is not an African American on this panel, and more concerned that the state was able to cross out 3 African American females that were opposed on what we do call a Batson strike because of a concern.
And that's alarming to me. So there was no reasons to strike any of the other non-white juror participants. You strike the only 3 potential black jurors, and all 3 of them are educators. And there's no one on this jury who looks like Karmelo, who would have Karmelo's best life and interests at hand, because when they go home, this is exactly what their family and their loved ones look like. There's not anyone on that jury who can testify what Karmelo or people like you and I go through on a daily basis in this racist nation. Everyone on there exercises white privilege in some type of way. In some type of way, ladies and gentlemen.
Racial striking, and that's a problem for this trial, and we haven't even started yet.
Yeah, that's been concerning to a lot of people who are reacting to this. I'm curious what the breakdown was in that landmark trial that you successfully represented George Zimmerman, if you remember. Was it similar? There are other cases. The Ahmaud Arbery one stands out to me, where there was a question of that jury. There was only one African American on that one down in Brunswick, Georgia. What do you think that has, if it has an impact at all on how the outcome may be in this case, and will they have a successful appeal if there's a conviction?
Well, again, my jury was 6 women, only one who was identified as maybe biracial, but no African Americans on my jury. I'm very concerned, as I mentioned a moment ago, about the fact that we now go into this trial.
So this is a technique that they use all the time to guarantee a conviction against a black male and or female. This is a technique used all the time to guarantee a conviction of a black male and or female.
With a racial component not only existing as it did before jury selection, but now I think exaggerated or exacerbated, because now 12 non-African Americans are going to decide this kid's fate. And just as we had to deal with in the Zimmerman case, you want to have something that people can place their trust in the verdict, whatever it is. And I was sort of hopeful in the Zimmerman case that since all the evidence came out, all the arguments came out, that it would at least be understood, but it was still difficult to trust. When you go into a case like this with the undeniable racial concern and do it with a jury that has no African Americans, not only do you build in a possible appellate issue, but you really build in a social issue that how is the black community going to look at this if he gets convicted and say this?
Right, and that should be their concern. How can they tell us to trust a jury of our peers when none of the jurors look like any of our peers? How does that work? And how are we not going to have a problem with the outcome of the verdict? And we already know that all jurors are non-black. How does that work? They don't give a damn about black people. They don't care what we think. They're going to impose their will, their control. Johnny Walker, J Dub, what's good?
Is a just verdict. They're going to look at it the way they've had to for decades, which is the bias system. Here's an example of it.
Oh, wow. Really great insight, Mark. We have to get a break, but you're going to stick around a little longer. We have a lot we're going to talk about on this case. Coming up, we're going to look at the facts of the case, also what we learned from opening statements, but we're going back to the initial report. What did those witnesses on the scene, including the defendant, say to officers right after this stabbing?
All right, y'all. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to what they're saying on these witness statements when they return here. Because all of this points in the direction of self-defense. All of this points in the direction of Austin and his brother Hunter Metcalf being
I don't think the racial tension is going to affect the case. I believe in the judge. I also believe in the prosecutor, and I heard that Mike Howard, the attorney for the defense side, is actually good.
Those are comments outside of the courthouse where we are in Texas this hour for day one of the Karmelo Anthony trial. He's a defendant charged with first-degree murder for the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet. Key pieces of evidence in this trial are going to be the surveillance footage from the stadium and witness statements. That surveillance video has already come out inside of the courtroom, but we're taking a look at what those statements were in the police report from the people who witnessed the incident. So a school resource officer was taking down these statements in the police report. Let's take a look at witness statement number 1. And this is a minor, a witness that was sitting under the Memorial High pop-up tent with his...
Listen to this witness account. Everything about this sounds like self-defense on Karmelo Anthony's behalf.
team near the victim, Austin Metcalf. The suspect, Karmelo Anthony, was from Centennial High and was sitting under the Memorial High tent. Austin told Karmelo that he needed to move out from under their team's tent. Karmelo grabbed his bag, opened it, reached inside, and proceeded to tell Austin, quote, "Touch me and see what happens." No one really thought Karmelo really had any weapons in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Karmelo. Then Karmelo told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later.
So now, evidently, he's already touched Karmelo. Karmelo responds and say, "Okay, punch me and see what happens." So there's a warning, and Austin still touched him. Now Karmelo comes back and says, "Okay, punch me and see what happens." And what does Austin do? Well, you're going to hear that for yourself. Let me rewind this. Here we go.
He's a defendant charged with first-degree murder for the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet. Key pieces of evidence in this trial are going to be the surveillance footage from the stadium and witness statements. That surveillance video has already come out inside of the courtroom. But we're taking a look at what those statements were in the police report from the people who witnessed the incident. So a school resource officer was taking down these statements in the police report. Let's take a look at witness statement number 1. And this is a minor, a witness that was sitting under the Memorial High pop-up tent with his team near the victim, Austin Metcalf. The suspect, Karmelo Anthony, was from Centennial High and was sitting under the Memorial High tent. Austin told Karmelo that he needed to move out from under their team's tent. Karmelo grabbed his bag, opened it, reached inside, and proceeded to tell Austin, quote, "Touch me and see what happens." No one really thought Karmelo really had any weapons in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Karmelo. Then Karmelo told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Karmelo to tell him to move, and Karmelo pulled out what this witness recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away.
How is that not self-defense? I admit I'm not an attorney, but damn, that's common sense. Like, how is that not self-defense? And that's just the first witness account. It paints Austin as being the aggressor. It paints Austin as being, Austin never had to say anything to Karmelo. I'm pretty sure Karmelo wasn't the only person sitting under that tent that didn't go to Austin's school. I'm quite sure.
Let's talk about what that statement means for this case. Joining us to discuss, we have trial attorney Marco Mero still with us and former prosecutor Nicole DeBoard with us. Thanks so much for being with us and breaking down this case for our viewers. Nicole, I want to start with you. With that witness statement, if you're just focusing on that, if that was the only witness to take the stand in front of this jury, do you think that this sounds like murder or self-defense?
I gotta say, this is gonna be a tall...
Since 1995, Barnes Walker has been part of the fabric of Sarasota and Manatee counties. What began as a
to a confrontation. And based on that statement alone, essentially what we're hearing is that the person who was provoking the encounter, because he's saying, "Touch me and see what happens," is actually the person who has appeared at the encounter with a...
She just said the person that was provoking the encounter, being Karmelo, saying, "Touch me and see what happens." Why did he have to tell someone, "Touch me and see what happens"? What did Austin do? Man, how come white people look past the stuff they do, man? Why is it like white people look past the stuff they do? Did y'all just hear that? She just called Karmelo. Fire her. Fire her. God dog, fire her.
To tell him to move, and Karmelo pulled out what this witness recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. Let's talk about what that statement means for this case. Joining us to discuss, we have trial attorney Marco Mero still with us and former prosecutor Nicole DeBoard with us. Thanks so much for being with us and breaking down this case for...
Y'all listen to this blue-eyed demon, man. Listen to this. It is remarkable. It is incredible how these people can look past their flaws. They look past their actions. They only focus on what other people do. Clearly, none of this happens if Austin wouldn't have messed with Karmelo in the first place. She never even went. Oh my God, this is getting me worked up.
For our viewers, Nicole, I want to start with you. With that witness statement, if you're just focusing on that, if that was the only witness to take the stand in front of this jury, do you think that this sounds like murder or self-defense?
I gotta say, this is going to be a tall mountain to climb for the defense. It sounds very much like murder. There's a couple of things that really create an issue here because under Texas law, you cannot bring a weapon to a confrontation. And based on that statement alone, essentially what we're hearing is that the person who was provoking the encounter, because he's saying, touch me and see what happens, is actually the person who has appeared at the encounter with a weapon. Certainly that's not going to be what the defense has to say about it, but I will say this.
This is crazy. No one would have known that Karmelo even had a simple pocket knife had Austin not messed with him in the first place. This is crazy. Am I the only person that sees this? Maybe I'm out of my mind. Maybe it's me that don't think straight. Maybe it's me. I'm listening. I'm listening, but I'm not sure they're listening to themselves. I'm not sure they're listening to these witness accounts. Maybe they hear voices in their head and they go with what the voices say. I don't know. I don't know.
It does sound like a tall hill to climb in terms of self-defense.
Yeah, the defense did try to clean that up in their opening statements with whether he said, touch me and see what happens, or touch me and don't touch me and we'll be cool. Mark, I want to show you witness statement number 2 in this police report. This witness stated to police that they were all sitting on the bleachers under a Memorial High tent when another male he did not know walked over and sat under the tent. That would be Karmelo Anthony. Austin told this male that since he didn't go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. Austin and the male went back and forth. Then Austin stood up and pushed the male to get him out of the tent. During the time of the arguing, the male...
Okay, so Austin again makes contact first and pushes Karmelo. Listen.
Was reaching around in the bag that he had. It was at this time that the male took out the knife and stabbed Austin and then left the scene. They're substantially the same, Mark, in terms of what they are saying. There are a few differences, but what's your take on whether or not, from those witness statements at the time that this happened, where do you think the jury would land on a case like this?
It's fun. It's going to be a tough call. And I know that's an easy thing to say. You can't lose if you say you're in the middle. It's going to be a tough call for these reasons. When you actually do an analysis of self-defense, there are different components. The argument that Karmelo Anthony was there and he shouldn't have been there. Well, that's okay, but it's not your bleachers. You don't get to throw people out because of the tent. That's an...
Exactly. First and foremost. Okay, let's go. Come on with the truth. God darn it, somebody see what I see. Let's go. I knew I couldn't be the only person in the world with a like mind. I knew it because he got pushed. They were already assaulting him.
Argument that you're going to see the defense make. Why did the eventual victim in this case decide that it was his role to kick him out? And then there's a tussling back and forth. And then, unfortunately, Mr. Metcalf did seemingly start the fight, so to speak, right? He was what we might...
He was about to get jumped. They said that Austin and his brother Hunter and 2 more of their friends walked over to Karmelo. That right there paints the narrative as a hostile environment.
Call the aggressor and pushing him out or grabbing him and touching him. So under Florida law and also Texas law, and when you're the aggressor, when you first start the fight, so to speak, you may lose the protection. If it was Karmelo who started, Karmelo Anthony. Now we get to say shifted because Metcalf was the one who started the fight. Now can Anthony respond to defend himself? We know he can. And then, as was mentioned a moment ago, are you supposed to bring a knife to a fist fight? No. You're supposed to bring a gun to a fist fight? Absolutely not. But if you're there and starting to get attacked, which is what the defense is going to say, can you defend yourself? And what they're going to say is, Anthony doesn't need to wait until the first nasty strike, the first injury. He can presuppose what might happen, and he's allowed to defend himself. But again, really a tough case.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a pocket knife is legal. It was not school grounds. No one would have even known that he had a simple, common pocket knife had it not been for Austin playing bully. Austin, his brother, and his friends. None of this happens. None of this happens. Just like Cyrus Belton never loses his life if those agents never leave that store. Same thing. Same common factors. Same thing. Karmelo did what anyone should have done. If this was 4 black teenagers walking up on 1 white teenager, we already know which way this would have went. Yeah, Star Platinum, you have to look this case up. Just look up the Carmelo Anthony case.
Because it really is in the middle, and we're talking about 2 17-year-olds and not making fun of it, but neither of which were acting with real good reason. We joke and say that a male brain isn't fully developed until 25, and unfortunately the tragedy happened probably because of a mix of testosterone and immaturity that brought these 2 boys together.
Yeah, Nicole, we talk a lot about whether race has a factor here, but I think age has a really big factor here. And not only the age of the defendant, the age of the stabbing victim, but also the ages of these witnesses who are going to be having to take the stand. This has been a traumatic experience for them, seeing their friend stabbed in front of them. Do you anticipate that they'll be able to shed more light on what happened, or even if at the height of this, they'll be able to say whether there was this initial aggression that Mark is talking about? But at what level would it actually be warranted for self-defense, do you think? There's this push in the police report, there's the shoving, there's the grabbing. I saw that word in the police report as well. What would it have to be in order, in your mind, to be self-defense?
In order for this to be self-defense, the law says that the person using this deadly force has to believe that that deadly force is immediately necessary.
I believe Carmelo had a chance to beat this just under self-defense. Texas is a stand your ground state, just like the state I live in, Florida. And Carmelo did exactly that. He stood his ground. Right here in the police report, it highlights Austin touching him more than once, and Carmelo giving what, 2 warnings? It also said that in the beginning that Austin, his brother, and 2 other guys approached Carmelo. That's 4 people. Now we know that Austin and his brother Hunter were twins. Each one of them was down there 6 feet tall, if not, and each one of them had at least like 90 to 100 pounds on Carmelo Anthony. It don't sound like he went there to stab anyone. He didn't know everyone carries pocket knives. Be quiet. Be quiet. Y'all white guys walk around in public with your pew-pews for nothing. Are you going to shoot up a school? Are you going to shoot up a top supermarket? Huh? Are you going to shoot up a church? I mean, let's be for real. A pocket knife. Y'all carry worse than that. You have worse than that on you right now. A pocket knife. Something you would peel an orange with or an apple with. A pocket knife. Something you would cut a fishing line with. A pocket knife.
Prevent serious bodily injury or death. So this is self-defense. You cannot pull out a gun or a knife, a weapon which can be used as a deadly weapon, say, in response to a minor assault. And that's unfortunately not what the law allows.
If you think that you are at risk of being seriously harmed, it is.
I got a question. I understand what I'm about to question happens in different states, but there just has to be some type of law against it. So Kyle Rittenhouse was a minor. Kyle Rittenhouse carried a firearm across different state lines, which means he had to pass many schools, many churches too. And what did Kyle Rittenhouse do? Why didn't Kyle Rittenhouse meet the same amount of force with the same amount of force? Huh? Why? Why didn't Donald Trump and the U.S. military and Israel meet Iran with the same amount of type of force? Because Iran was not applying force to anyone. But what did our United States tangerine dream ass president and Bibi Netanyahu do to Iran? But what happens to, you know, applying the same amount of pressure? What happens to that? Come on, Patriots. Come on, DA. With your trolling ass. Come on, DA. You got a right in the dumbass. That's what DA stand for, dumbass. Come on, DA.
Is a different calculus. So that is what the defense is going to have to demonstrate. And really, Texas law on the defense's side, one thing that might potentially make this a little bit easier for them is once they have.
We see this all the time, Cardenas. They always victimize the aggressor. All the white woman got to do is cry tears, and all the white man got to do is look past his own damn faults, like DA. That's all I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And they don't understand why we have white fatigue, man. They don't understand. Regardless of how this case turns out, whatever the verdict it is, no matter what verdict we get, there's going to be a problem in America. If you think George Floyd and Rodney King separated America, divided America, this case right here is definitely going to divide America. People can say there's no racial overtones or whatever. Yes, there is. Because we know right now that Karmelo shouldn't even be on trial for this. We know that this is self-defense, and the only reason he's on trial is because he's a black guy that unalived a white guy that was bullying him. But if this is the other way around, and it fits the narrative of how they like to say we're violent, if this is 4 black teenagers approaching 1 white teenager and having this size difference on them, then we already know this wouldn't even be a conversation.
Made a claim that Karmelo actually believed that he was in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death. There's evidence of that in front of the jury. Once that happens, essentially what has to happen is that the prosecution has to disprove that. So these witnesses that we're going to hear from, which are just these young kids who are essentially, going to a high school track meet, have to be able to get up on the stand and really explain what was going on.
DA, it's not all problems. None of this happens if you crazy white people like yourself learn to mind your damn business and keep your damn hands to your damn self. That's what this is all about. You're not going to bring in all people of all colors. No, it's you. It's your people of your color, the damn most throughout history. No matter how much you try to circumvent, you can't. You can't. Tell it like it is and learn how to be accountable. What is it with you people? Damn. If hell do exist, boy, y'all gonna burn y'all Krispy Kreme ass off, boy.
And, on the prosecution side, I think these are going to be really compelling witnesses because of their youth on the one hand. On the other hand, they're going to have to endure adult cross-examination. Oh, yeah. And speaking...
I get it. Maybe only few white people come with a moral compass, man. Maybe only a few and far, come with a moral compass. I think that's what this is. I think that's what this has got to be. Because, there's a big population of the white community that likes to do sexual things to children and animals. You know what I mean? At an alarming rate, over 70% in this country. Just child alone, you know? So maybe those few who don't do this to the children who are white, maybe those are the few who are born with the moral compass. Because we know a majority of them what they do. You know, we know a majority of them, that's what they do.
Cross-examine. AI affecting your work? Make it work for you. Sign up for free AI training.
What?
Over 70% of their community gets convicted of taking indecent photos of children. 29% of the white population are men. And those men are convicted at a 77% rate of being in possession of indecent pictures of children, child pornography. I'm not making up any stats. I know I'm not. It's in the 2019 FBI 2019 FBI crime data sheet. Look it up. No, I'm not making it up.
Whether you're a seasoned off-roader or getting your vehicle trail ready, Harbor Freight offers rugged winches, lights, off-road jacks, and accessories for every need, and quality tools and equipment built to perform. Harbor Freight, your off-road.
Give your opinion of self-defense.
I'm not making that up. 2977. No. Y'all make things up and y'all say 1350, bro. I ain't got no reason to come on the internet and lie. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no reason to come on the internet and lie. If I come on the internet, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm holding it right in my hand. Watch this. It's right here. That's what you want to look up. It's right here. That's where it comes from. It's right here. I ain't got no reason to lie to you, homie. I got receipts. I got receipts. It's right here. It's all right here. I got receipts. What am I lie to you for? Huh? What am I lie to you for? Yes. 70% of what? No, 29%. 29%. Okay. Okay, let me help y'all out. 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 I got y'all. Sit tight. I got y'all. I got y'all. Just sit tight. I got you. Sit tight. I got you. All right, y'all.
This is the thing about the Charlie 5% of inst. So as black people as a whole, I feel like it's only right that we all come together and coin a new term, black obsession. Throughout all of history, it seems that racists have a very strange obsession with black people. Now in 2025, every other day there is a new example of this. Recently, a white man went to a all-black barbershop to discuss his black fatigue. I did a video on my second.
That was Steven Crowder.
Channel already breaking down all of the false statistics and fallacies. But I will say this. He walked out of that barbershop alive. He did not get kirked. And it's just so strange because these white conservatives walk around like white people shit do not stink. And I'll say this all the time. There is nothing wrong with bringing up the problems in the black community. But also sweep under your own porch first. White America has greater problems than black fatigue. White men only make up about 29% of the population. But guess what? They account for 75% of incest perpetrators, 65% of prostitution johns, 65% of pedos, 60% of kidnappers, 60% of rapists, 77% of child you-know-what arrests, and are half of the mass shooter.
Heard him say 77% of child you-know-what arrests. Yeah. 2977. Y'all see it. J-Dub got it right there in the chat. 2977. I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up. 2019 FBI data sheet. I'm not making it up. I showed it to you. I showed it to you. I have no reason to come on the internet and lie. You white people do. I have no reason to come on this internet and lie. You white people do. Remember, it's called white lies, not black lies. I have no reason to lie to you, pimpin'. None at all. White people make up 69% of the crime in this country, but they're not talking about that. They're not talking about that. They're going to holler per capita. White people are on food stamps and EBT, HUD, Section 8, and all that the most. 37.4%. But they're not going to talk about that. They're going to holler per capita. Their birth rates are dropping at an alarming rate. They're transitioning and passing away quicker than any ethnic group in this country right now, which is why they're panicking about the race becoming extinct and them making more babies. And that's why they're trying to make sure that they stay unaliving our babies, because they can't match our pace. They can't reproduce the way we can. And they're not designed to survive in these extreme temperatures like we are. See, I'm just going to tell the truth about it. I'm just going to tell the truth about it. That's the difference between you and I is I'm not going to lie. I'm not affiliated with a party, any gang, any. I just simply tell the truth. I call it how I see it, man. I call it how I see it, man. I call a spade a spade. I call a spade a spade. I mean, if y'all got some dumb mustache having white guy running around the internet calling people the N-word, you know what I'm saying, and holding up a camera and he's still allowed to do what he do on the internet, then surely what I'm doing is not a harm to anyone. Surely what I'm doing is not a harm to anyone. Wait, is it because I'm black? Huh? Yeah, I'm just being real and honest. But maybe it's because I'm black, just like in Carmelo Anthony's case. Just like in Carmelo Anthony's case. See, they have so much more to worry about, but they're over here in our business. That's why I always get on them about touching on children. If y'all don't notice, that's why, because they lead the way in that. They lead the way in it. Not only children, the women too, and the pets. I'm telling you that the pet chihuahuas ain't safe. The billy goats ain't safe. Those horses in the stables are not safe. They out there porking the pigs, y'all. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this is what they do. This is why I say something about these people and their mindset and their moral compass is just way off. It's just not right. It's like a broken clock. It's just not right. Real talk, y'all. Real talk. Well, let's run that back one more time for the people in the back. For the people in the back. Let's run that back one more time. One more time.
Also, sweep under your own porch first. White America has greater problems than black fatigue. White men only make up about 29% of the population, but guess what? They account for 75% of incest perpetrators, 65% of prostitution johns, 65% of pedos, 60% of kidnappers, 60% of rapists, 77% of child you-know-what arrests, and are half of the mass shooters. So my thing is, you can talk about black problems, but address your own people's problems.
So what are the chances that Carmelo is getting judged by some PDF files, y'all? You know what I'm saying? What if all those white men have touched a kid or something recently in the past, and they're sitting here finna put a black kid away for unaliving a white kid out of self-defense, man? This is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. It's absolutely bonkers, I tell you.
And I know we're talking about 17-year-olds, but anyone who leaves the scene and then argues self-defense is sort of inconsistent with their behavior.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk a lot more about that and exactly what police say he did after.
Boy, DA got up out of here real quick. Boy, I ain't heard nothing else from DA since I got on him about that 2977. Good job, J-Dub. We be doing it. We be representing. Hey, J-Dub be on it. J-Dub be on it. Hey, salute to J-Dub, man. Salute to J-Dub, man. We got that boy out of here quick. We didn't have to be rude about it. We just had to be truthful.
He fled. Mark O'Mara, thank you so much for lending us your time and spending time helping us analyze this case. Nicole, you're going to stick around. We have a lot more ahead. We're going to take a closer look at what was said during those opening statements. Cameras on inside of the courtroom, but we have the notes and we're going to break down.
Sweet tea. What type of sweet tea? Lipton sweet tea, McDonald's sweet tea. You know what I'm saying? What kind of sweet tea are we working with right here? That's right, J Dub. 29.77. 29.77. Yeah. Oh, they say Lipton. Okay. Okay. That's the cool breast with the ice cubes and stuff. Oh, snap. Let me stop. Let's go.
What was said by the prosecution and the defense as day one of this case in Collin County, Texas begins.
Hey, Sweet Tea say, yes, sir. Hey, Sweet Tea say, she. I hope that's a she. I hope. I can't see. I ain't trying to roast y'all. I promise I'm not. I promise I ain't trying to roast. I can't see. I can't see. But I hope that's a female on the other end. I'm only saying this in reference to a female, okay? Because I don't swing no other way than a female. But Sweet Tea is say she is what you need on a hot summer day in Florida. You need some of her Lipton sweet tea. Oh, can I get a shade? Peace, Ken, folks. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? We gonna call you real TV. We gonna call you real TV. Yeah, we on a standby right now. They doing that boy Karmelo wrong. They doing Karmelo wrong. I'm a woman named Sweet Tea. Oh, chat. Anybody thirsty? I don't mean it in that way. Pause. I think that's what the young people say. Pause. I don't mean thirsty how y'all perceive thirsty. I was actually making a pun. It's getting there now. We about to get active. Hey, real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, regardless of how this turned out, man, somebody is going to get active. And I'm not sitting here condoning violence. I'm not sitting here trying to start anything. I'm not sitting here telling people to go jump on no nothing. I'm just stating the obvious. That's all I'm doing. I'm stating the obvious. We saw how they got down over January 6th. Come on now. Let's say Karmelo walks out of this thing and he's acquitted. What do you think they're going to do? We saw what they did on January 6th because an old white man who shits himself wasn't elected. What do you think they're going to do if Karmelo... They not having this OJ 2.0 shit, man. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Come on now. Let's be for real. That's not how the world works. As long as white people exist, there will always be racism, man. I wish I can apologize for putting it that way, but historically and truthfully, that's the only way to put it. That's the only way to put it. White people have to go under this racist rehab reform. You know what I'm saying? White people have to go under a racist rehab reform in order for racism not to exist in this country and everybody just be able to love. That is real talk, man. That is real talk. That's real talk. Honestly, man. Honestly. No shade, man. For this world to ever reach the peak of love and unity, I'm telling you, white people have to check themselves in to a racist rehab center and reform the way they think in order for everyone to work. I'm telling you, man. And y'all take them racist Mexicans with y'all, them racist Indians too. All of them. Take everybody but black people. We seem to be the only ones that's not racist. We prejudiced as hell. I admit that. But we ain't racist. Boy, every race besides the black race is racist. Racist.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. Thank you for following along with us as we track day one of the track meet stabbing trial for Karmelo Anthony.
Only Brawny has 3 plies.
Only Brawny. Brawny Strong. Brawny James. Brawny Paper Towels.
20 minutes to deliver this to the jury of 12 plus 6 alternates. Here's a portion of the prosecution's opening statement. They told this jury, "We are all here because Carmelo Anthony decided to take a knife to a high school track meet and provoke another young man who he didn't know into touching him."
What? A what? 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 Did y'all hear this? What? What? Oh, come on. See, come on, white people, y'all nasty with this game, man. Y'all, white people, y'all is nasty with it. God dang, white people. Shit. Y'all, y'all listen to this. Insatiable, did you hear that? Insatiable, did you hear that? Y'all, boy, they is nasty with it. They, hold on, wait, what? They is nasty with it. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all just hear that? Watch this, y'all. Watch how white people turn it around. Watch how white people turn it around. Watch this. Watch this. Nobody would have knew Carmelo had a pocket knife had this white guy mess with him. But since now they know he had a pocket knife, you know what I'm saying? Watch how they spin this, y'all. Watch this.
It's happening right now. They're on a lunch break, and our Hootie Thomas is there on the ground. He'll be giving us updates throughout the day. So at any moment, he could come out and give us a new update on what's happening there. But we do want to show you what happened this morning during the opening statements. Both sides only got 20 minutes to deliver this to the jury of 12 plus 6 alternates. Here's a portion of the prosecution's opening statement. They told this jury, "We are all here because Carmelo Anthony decided to take a knife to a high school track meet and provoke another young man who he didn't know into touching him, holding an already open knife in his hand and plunging it into his heart."
Oh my God. How do these lying ass white people sleep at night, man? How do they live with themselves? They don't have a conscience. They don't have a conscience. No, they ain't got a conscience. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh my Lord, man. This. Oh my. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is. Oh yeah, they turning it around, boy. Oh my God. Oh my God, boy. I told y'all they wonder where the term white lies came from. If you ever wonder where the term white lies came from, man, you know what I'm saying? White lies matter.
They went on to say that this man decided to commit an unjustified provoked murder and that this case has nothing to do with race. This is not self-defense.
So Carmelo just woke up that morning, had a trap meet, and said, let me put my little fishing little pocket knife, in my backpack, because I'm going to Chucky me somebody today, damn it. I'm mad, I'm depressed because I have a track meet, and I'm just going to unalive the first person I see. And Austin walking up to me and pushing me and touching me and grabbing me had absolutely nothing to do with it. I just knew I was gonna Chucky someone today. Hi, my name is Chucky. Wanna play? Are you serious? Are you serious? Man, are you serious? Right. This is BS. They can do it to us, but we can't defend ourselves. This shit crazy, but George Zimmerman can do the exact thing and get. This is what I'm trying to tell you. If you're non-black, it works for you. If you're black, you get elfed up. You get elfed up. You like that story on that Chucky? Yeah. If you non-black, this works for you all day because there's no penalty to taking a black life. A black life has no value to them. But when it's the other way around, and it's a black life, and they have this fake facade of superiority over everyone else. Oh, now they want to make an example out of you because that white life is more important than any life in existence. You know what I'm saying? Are we serious right now? Are we serious right now?
Let's talk about the prosecution's beginning of their case in front of this jury. With us, we have our guest, former prosecutor Nicole DeBoard, criminal defense attorney Joanna Nieves, and criminal defense attorney Mario Gallucci. It's so good to have you all on. Mario, let me get your thoughts on this first. I've been hearing you talk about it all day with Ted, but when you hear this fact that the prosecution says they have, that the knife was open inside of the bag, how compelling is that to this case?
So, I mean, the prosecution's trying to make it seem like he went there with an open knife in his bag to cause a problem. I don't see it that way. It's a pocket knife. We're not talking about a machete. We're not talking about a dagger. We're not talking about a switchblade. We're talking about, an
Thank you. We ain't talking about a damn sword. Thank you. Man, I've been carrying a damn pocket knife since I was about 12 years old, man. You just sit on the back porch, man, and use that pocket knife to eat sugar cane all day long. Peel oranges and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Who is y'all playing with, man? Who is y'all playing with? I'm an old head, man. We carry pocket knives just because we grew up around a whole bunch of sugar. I had sugar cane in my backyard, fields of sugar cane. When we wanted to go out there and play, and wanted to go out there and eat, we all had pocket knives, man. Swiss Army pocket knives, to be precise. They had the little can openers, they had the little cork things on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Didn't mean we was gonna go out and chucky somebody. It mean we were gonna go out here and demolish some of this doggone this sugar cane. That's what that means. Come on, this is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy, man. This is crazy.
Ordinary pocket knife that's used on a daily basis to do whatever utility you need to be done. So just by and I believe you're going to hear this from the defense, just by the virtue of there being an open pocket knife in a bag doesn't mean that he went there with the intent to harm someone. And I think that that's what's going to come out on the defense side.
Maybe the knife had a malfunction closing. Maybe. We don't know. Maybe. If it closed, period. Right, Insatiable. Insatiable says, I used to carry a survival knife, Rambo, back when I was younger. Exactly. So I don't know why this is some big man. Listen, no matter where I go every day, I got, man, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what, every day, I tell y'all, look on my side right there. What do y'all think that is? What do you think that is? Since I was about 12 years old, are we kidding? So I'm and notice it's not concealed, right? Notice it's showing, right? So I'm not breaking any laws. You can see it. You can see it. That's why I wear it outside of my pocket. You can see it. I walk past police just like that. You can see it. Does that mean that I'm going out here trying to Chucky somebody? Huh? Trying to Michael Myers somebody? Are we serious right now? But y'all white people walk around with arsenals on y'all. With arsenals. It was all right for Chuck the Builder, wasn't it? But it's not all right for Karmelo and all these boys having a simple utility knife. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Man, I'm going back off camera. Blowing me with that, man.
Once we get this trial up and running.
And Joanna, what do you think about the theory that the prosecution has that Carmelo Anthony's position all along was to get someone to do something so that he could kill them? Do you think that's
Talk to him, Storm. Talk to him, Alicia. Talk to him, Alicia Barnes. Talk to him. Alicia say, I'm a female and I carry one for multiple uses. Exactly. Exactly. A darn pocket knife. Little white boy is running around here with the drizzies, y'all. You know what I'm saying? with the long nose, the 30-06. They run around here with the Dracos. This young man only had a pocket knife, a utility blade. Are you kidding me? Man, if y'all don't stop this, man, this is nonsense. If y'all don't stop this, this is nonsense right now. This is nonsense.
Effective. And is Karmelo Anthony?
Y'all white people get pulled over, you got a whole arsenal. You got grenades in your car too. Oh, okay, well, have a nice day, says the officer. Black man get pulled over, you got a pocket knife. Oh, you breaking the law. Oh, you're under arrest. You're being detained. We got to search your car. Give me a break.
Going to have to take the stand to combat.
I definitely think there's a damage that happens when you kind of over exaggerate and emphasize things that aren't necessarily going to be consistent with what the defense is going to put forward. Karmelo Anthony was a good student. He worked. He came from a good family. He's got a support system. He participated in athletics. And you want the jury to believe that he really came to school with the intention of, or a track meet with the intention of murdering somebody. I think that's a far stretch of the imagination, and the prosecution is almost like just over prompt.
We forget that when there's an M1 charge, y'all know what I'm saying, M1, red rum, y'all know I can't, certain things we can't say. You have to prove malice. You have to prove malice. There was no malice. Karmelo did not know this guy until this guy approached him. If we're going to go by law, somebody look up malice.
Let's say, and likely going to underdeliver in that regard.
We'll talk about the overpromising and undelivered, especially when it comes to that surveillance video that was shown. But Nicole, I want to get your last thoughts on what we just showed in terms of the opening statements. The prosecution wanting to make sure that they say in that little bit of 20 minutes that they got in front of this jury that this case has.
If you're 62 or older, there's a way to access your home equity without monthly mortgage payment.
That was rude, you ad. You ad hole. Yeah, you ad hole. That was rude. What an ad hole you are.
A bunch of people who are going to decide the facts don't think of pink elephants. I mean, that's what they're going to think immediately to me. So I'm not sure it was necessary to say that. It is, however, true that the case is going to be all about self-defense or not self-defense. And so I don't know that they revealed any sort of concern for weakness by saying that. And the reality is it's going to boil down to how jurors on this case think about whether or not it's a problem for a student, for anyone, to bring a knife of any kind to a track meet. And I think that is going to be the defense's biggest hurdle. And, we don't have premeditation in Texas. That's all we have is intent in the moment. And so the prosecution doesn't really have to show any kind of forethought in terms of how long this planning would have gone on.
I wonder how this would have worked out if Karmelo didn't have his Chucky blade, his utility blade, and these guys still picked on Karmelo that day, and Karmelo found a stick on the ground, a twig, and just stuck him in the eye. I wonder what they gonna say. Why did he reach for a twig? Why did he bring a twig to a track meet? They would just find something to say, man. Malice is the intention or desire to cause harm, injury, or distress to another person without justification. It is fundamentally characterized by ill will, spite, or a reckless disregard for the well. See? 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 That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's no malice involved in this case. So this charge, if it didn't stick for Rick Chow, it shouldn't stick for Karmelo. That's all I'm saying. If it didn't stick for Rick Chow in the unaliving of 14-year-old Cyrus Belton, then it shouldn't stick for Karmelo. There was no malice. Rick Chow showed malice. Karmelo showed no malice. But when you're black versus non-black in this country, things work a little differently, and there's a two-tier justice system. There's a double standard. There's a double standard. I know what I be talking about, y'all. I've lived my life. I've taken notes. You know what I mean? I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Trust me. I know. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I got a tapeworm today. I'm grubbing, y'all. I'm grubbing. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Let's go.
They get to
Y'all will not watch me eat this drumstick. I promise you won't. Ladies, you will not get moist on my account.
show whether or not the conduct was intentional in the very moment that it happened, and that's it. So I think that the defense has got a big claim.
Hey, Alicia Barnes, you like nuts? Want some nuts, Alicia?
Here. No,
You know I
really
love
distinction there when it comes to murder in the state of Texas. I do want to show a few more details that came out during that prosecution opening statement. This includes that Austin Metcalf, the stabbing victim, and team were under their school tent at that track meet. That Karmelo Anthony went under Metcalf's team tent during bad weather. Metcalf asked Anthony to leave the tent, prompting a fight where Anthony stabbed Metcalf.
Doing bad weather. This man ducking under the tent to get out of the rain. I'm trying to get from under my tent. I'm getting out of the rain. That is nuts.
Mario, I'm going to focus on one part of that actually has come up a lot online by our viewers. Early on, there was a question of why Karmelo would have been under the tent. And I know I mentioned on air even that it could have been because it was raining. And we found out today that both sides say it was raining really bad. And the school that Karmelo Anthony went to was not one that had a tent. Is that important?
Tastes like chocolate. Tastes like chocolate. Yeah, Lisa, I'll share my nuts with you. Oh man, here we go. Let's go.
Is the reason that he was under that tent important when we had this issue of the prosecution saying he went there to provoke a murder?
Look, Julia, I can't agree with you more. I mean, it's raining out. There's a tent. You seek shelter. I don't think that the fact that his school did not have a tent has anything to do with it. There was a tent. It was raining. He went there. And we just found out during the opening statements that he actually had a friend in the tent that he met and spoke to. So it's not like, there's no tent. And he went there with the forethought to start a fight, provoke a fight, and stab somebody. I just don't see that this tent.
Do anyone know that the Twins high school track coach told Karmelo to go? Yeah, I said that. I kept telling y'all he had permission from a facilitator that was there that told him to get under that tent to get out of the rain. All right, Alicia. Chocolate is my fave. Nuts are good too. Damn it, you're forcing my hand here, Alicia. Okay, damn it, I saved you some nuts. I saved you some nuts, Alicia. Remember, chocolate melts in your mouth, Alicia. Not in your hands, baby. Promo. I can run some ads for somebody. You know what I'm saying? I got the meats. Arby's, holla at me.
Has anything really to do with anything?
Yeah, that was new information that came out about why he was under the tent. The defense saying he had friends there. The state didn't mention anything about that. Joanna, the state did start with surveillance video that was very grainy. Up until this point, no one in the public has been able to see it outside of reporters who were able to go and look at it, take notes, handwritten notes, and then tell their viewers or their readers about what they saw. And now we're in the same situation because there are no cameras inside of that courtroom. What do you think about the prosecution really hanging their hat on this surveillance video? My understanding of the video is that it's difficult to make out like clear pictures of what's going on, but I do think that it might highlight if there was chaos at the scene, how many people were around, and kind of shed some light, maybe even for the defense, on what was going.
Why didn't any of the parents have videos of this? Why didn't any of the students, when this altercation first started happening, do y'all come from the World Star era? They're like, World Star. Y'all know people pull out their cameras quick, go to recording. Some of y'all can go to your phone right now and go to Facebook, and it's fights on Facebook, people posting. Nobody recorded this when it was about to start. My bad, Mr. Uncut. I'm just tired of all this misinformation being out here to taint this whole case in the public opinion. Hey, you ain't doing nothing wrong. You're doing nothing wrong. We got to come to the defense. We got to put the facts out there. You ain't doing. Don't apologize for doing what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be unapologetic about your truths. I ain't mad at you.
Going through Karmelo's mind at the time when this incident occurred, because really what it boils down to was, did he perceive a threat in that moment that he might be subjected to some serious bodily injury or death? And if there is it brings to mind this case, Raul Valle, where he was surrounded by a group of people. He ends up using a knife and stabs some of the victims there, and one of them dies, and he was acquitted of these charges, the top charges, because of his perceived fear in that moment, or his perceived threats. And I think this video, as grainy as it may be, may actually shed some light on the commotion and the activity that was taking place, and how that impacted Karmelo's thinking. Oh yeah, absolutely. And great case comparison with the Raul Valley case that still kind of hangs in the balance, because the jury was hung on the lower charges, but on murder they did.
Man, listen, 4 people surround me. Man, I'm liable to pick a mailbox up out the ground and swing it for protection. I'm liable to pick up one of them and swing them at them for protection. Hey, listen, man, listen. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? Hey, might be an old John Wayne scene, boy. Get clocked across the head with a bottle. You know what I'm saying? Something gonna happen. Something gonna happen. I got to survive. We need a million man march on that courthouse. Show our power. We do. They're out there. There's black people out there, but boy, that is a controlled environment right now. King Fire. Peace and love, tribe. We out here.
Acquit him. We are going to take a break. Our panel is staying with us because we're going to look next at what the defense said this morning during their opening statement and some new details that they revealed about their client.
This is BS right here, boy. They're going to try to railroad that young man. They're going to try to railroad that young man.
Since Texas is a stand your ground state, one of the stand your ground states, I just want to see how the law will be.
From first call to final invoice, Service Titan is the only integrated intelligence that automates your entire workflow.
Pushed or touched or whatever, touched, assaulted. I just want to see if the law will be applied in the same way it's been applied in other cases.
We are following day one out in McKinney, Texas, in the case against Karmelo Anthony in the track meet murder trial. And this morning, both sides were allowed to give their opening statements in front of the jury.
Hey, y'all, a lot of people don't understand what you mean, but I understand you. Yeah, they will lock him up just because he's young and he's got sweat equity. He can get the work done and be a slave, a good prisoner. You know what I'm saying? Yep, he can work for a long time. Sweat equity. That's the same thing they said to the whole Cartwright guy in this thing with Julio Fulio, isn't it? Same thing they said to that light-skinned young man. You know I be on it. You know I be on it.
minutes each, and the defense, they began their opening statement with details about their client, about him being a 3.7 GPA student holding down 2 jobs, that he had been elected football captain of his sophomore team before he was diagnosed with epilepsy and had a seizure. Here are some quotes from our notes inside of that courtroom, because we don't have cameras, but we have Cody Thomas. He's there right now and will be giving us notes throughout the day. This is defense attorney Mike Howard saying self-defense is useless if you wait until it is too late to use it. In that moment, when Austin makes the first physical contact, he reacts in a split, he, meaning Karmelo Anthony, reacts in a split second of fear and chaos. Well, why didn't he just walk away? There's an answer. After Karmelo defended himself, he ran. He didn't stab twice. He dropped the knife right by the tent on the bleachers. Instead of running to the exit, he goes onto the track and walks right up to a coach and stayed with this coach until that officer arrived. Let's bring back in our panel, see what they think about the defense side of things. Still with us, trial attorney Mario Gallucci, former prosecutor Nicole DeBoard, and criminal defense attorney Joanna Nieves. Nicole, I'm going to start with you on this one, because now we're getting more details, at least from the defense perspective, about what Karmelo Anthony did immediately after the stabbing. How important is that?
I think it's very important, and I think that the prosecution is going to harp on the idea that, well, if you're fleeing, then that we can use that as evidence that you have a consciousness of guilt. What the defense is going to say is exactly what you heard in the opening arguments. He wasn't fleeing at all. He was
King Fire said mofos done march so much shoes ain't got good soles no more. I hear you. I hear you. Marching ain't gonna do nothing. Marching ain't gonna do nothing.
running to safety. He was running to the safety of an adult. And so he didn't leave the scene. He ran to someone who he trusted to stand with them for protection until law enforcement could arrive. So these are the two different perspectives that I think we're going to continue to hear about, and the different perspectives support the different theories on each side.
Yeah, Joanna, we have the defense starting out their opening statement, really trying to humanize their client, let them know all of his background, and even that diagnosis with epilepsy I found was interesting to bring out in openings. What did you think? What stood out to you?
All of those things, because that's really part of taking away the bluster that was happening with the prosecution's case about, this was his plan all along. He wanted to provoke something and instigate something. And when you start highlighting that this is actually what his background is, he doesn't come across like somebody who's going there with some murderous intent. And even formulating that in the moment, his words, his actions all speak to him protecting himself and seeking out safety. And keep in mind, he's 17 years old. I know he's being tried as an adult, but he is a child still who has impulse.
This young man was raised well. May Austin rest in peace. I'm with you. Karmelo was raised well. This doesn't say that this young man put this utility knife in his backpack to intentionally go hurt somebody. The man even ran to a coach that he trusted to wait for the police, man. Move the ethers is a very powerful, soulful intention. We can create that for Karmelo. We have to decide this one FBA stays free and receives real justice. Well, decided over here. It's decided right now. It's decided right now. We're going to declare that. We're going to manifest that right now today. You know what I'm saying? We're going to declare that right now today.
In not fully formed and completely immature brain waves that need to be taken into consideration. So yes, he ran away, and my colleague was saying, he was looking for a place of safety, and I think all of that is relevant, especially his age.
Yeah, 17 at the time, 19 years old inside of that courtroom, now out on bond, so he's able to go in and out of the courtroom each day. Amaro, your thoughts on the fleeing or the running to get help, however it's being characterized differently by either side. I do want to also point out what the police report said about what he said, what Karmelo said as soon as he interacted with the school resource officer. He told them that Austin put his hands on me. He advised other officers that the officer said, I have the suspect or alleged suspect in custody. And Karmelo Anthony said, I'm not alleged. I did it. And he also asked, is the victim going to be okay? What do you think is going to be the impact of his own words as to whether or not he was fleeing or he was someone who was just getting out of the way of the chaos in order to then turn himself in?
So I agree with Nicole completely on this issue. I mean, we see consciousness of guilt in all of these cases, and we just discussed this in the last hour with Ted. But in consciousness of guilt, he did not flee. He went to a person in authority. He went to a coach. He dropped the knife. He didn't leave the scene. He asked how the victim was. He said he did it. He said why he did it. I think he did a very good job, and the defense did a great job. Like Joanna just said, in humanizing.
I think he did a great job. I think he did a great job. All of this paints Karmelo in more of a light of justice and good characteristical traits, a great personality, like an amazing human being, than Austin. This is all. Listen, Karmelo looks this way, y'all. The man looks very respectful, looks very smart, looks like he's very, like, well-mannered, man. Well-mannered.
Him. We now know he's a straight A student. We now know he has no contact whatsoever previously with the criminal justice system. We know he's an athlete. So you're coming into this with a 17-year-old boy who found himself in this predicament, and after it, he could have fled. He could have gotten scared. There was an exit nearby. He chose not to take it. Instead, he went to a person of authority. So this Mr. Anthony made all of the right moves after the incident.
The size of these two individuals, Nicole, also came out in the defense case, or not in their case, but their opening statement.
Now this is going to be interesting because due to the size comparisons between these sets of teenagers, Austin and Hunter, the Metcalf twins, and Karmelo, there is a big difference. And we also heard that they were accompanied by two more friends. So this creates the fear. Listen, y'all.
Statements, and I want to see if I can pull it up quickly. The defense said that Karmelo Anthony is 5'8", 135 pounds, and that the twins, including the stabbing victim Austin Metcalf and his twin brother was there, they are 6'1" and 215 pounds. I keep asking if these details are going to carry any weight.
Now, if that don't mean something, let's run that back. This is clearly self-defense. 5'8", 135 pounds, and two twin boys, 6'1", 200 plus pounds. Man, are you kidding me? Not only, man. Boy, somebody gonna get the night. Hell no.
I keep asking if these details are going to carry any weight. So my question is the same. Is that going to impact the jury? Do they care about the size?
Smooth, sophisticated feel, refined look.
That's crazy.
But these napkins aren't just elegant. They're surprisingly affordable, making them perfect for breakfast or dinner or breakfast for dinner. Vanity Fair. Elevate every day.
This woman in Kansas City searched her name and found $6.1 million in unclaimed money. Like, what?
Wait, you don't know?
Two, right? They're both approaching him together. One of them, even though they appear to be acting in unison, puts hands on him or threatens to put hands on him, depending on what you.
No, I want to hear that again.
He's a straight A student. We now know he has no contact whatsoever previously with the criminal justice system. We know he's an athlete. So you're coming into this with a 17-year-old boy who found himself in this predicament, and after it, he could have fled. He could have gotten scared. There was an exit nearby. He chose not to take it. Instead, he went to a person of authority. So this Mr. Anthony made all of the right moves after the incident.
The size of these two individuals, Nicole, also came out in the defense case, or not in their case, but their opening statements. And I want to see if I can pull it up quickly. The defense said that Karmelo Anthony is 5'8", 135 pounds, and that the twins, including the stabbing victim Austin Metcalf and his twin brother was there, they are 6'1" and 215 pounds. I keep asking if these details are going to carry any weight. So my question is the same. Is that going to impact the jury? Do they care about the size when one person has a knife?
Right. I mean, I think that's exactly what the defense should be doing, is highlighting why, from the perspective of Karmelo, would this be reasonable to perceive that you were an imminent threat of serious bodily harm or even death. So not only do you have one potential attack.
Because this big guy done already grabbed you. This big behemoth done already grabbed you more than once. He towers over you. He towers over you. You're 5'8", 135 pounds, and you got two bullies picking on you that's 6'1", 215 pounds apiece. That's 430 pounds combined. All you have is your 135 pounds, 5'8" frame. Hey, Karmelo, I'm with you. I'm with you. I would have done the same damn thing. I'm with you, Karmelo. I'm with you. I understand. I understand. I just like to say, I've been 5'8" all my in life, and being 5'8" ain't really that bad. But if I happen to encounter someone who is 6'1" and 215 pounds, I've got to let my 5'8" do what the it's got to do to protect me. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I got to do, and that's what Karmelo did. That's what Karmelo. Y'all see who survived? Who had the survival instincts? One was a bully. One really had to survive. That is exactly why they say you should not back a scared dog into a corner. You know what I'm saying? Self-defense is an understatement. They start young lifting weights. Take it to them boys was big, man. Them boys was big. This is clearly self-defense. This is clearly self-defense, ladies and gentlemen. 5'8", 135 pounds, and you got two brutes, 6'1", 215, and they already done put their hands on you. Man, somebody pass me the glizzy. You know what I'm saying? I got the man, boy. Listen, I'm liable to pull up some of these bleachers and whack your ass with it. What is you talking about right now? What is we talking about? Talking about meet the amount of force with the amount of force given. That is 430 pounds combined to your 135 pounds. What type of force you finna deliver to that? What type of force is you finna deliver to that? Real talk, you got to even the odds, man. The only rule to fighting is don't lose. If you don't start it, you better not lose.
But you have two, right? They're both approaching him together. One of them, even though they appear to be acting in unison, puts hands on him or threatens to put hands on him, depending on what you believe. And then he reacts as he does. Now, there's no question that this is an absolute tragedy.
And that's a good observation, y'all. Yop says, ain't no telling what type of training they learn. You know, all these YTs think they MMA fighters. Facts. Facts. Facts.
Probably not the most mature decision. And we have real questions from the prosecution's perspective about whether or not you can instigate this kind of conduct.
If Karmelo gets acquitted of this, I nominate Blade for his nickname, y'all. I nominate Blade for his nickname. If this brother gets acquitted of these charges and walks out of there free, his nickname is Blade. He earned it. We're going to call him Blade. Karmelo Blade Anthony.
When you know you have an available weapon on you from Texas legal analysis standpoint. But the size, to answer your question, is absolutely going to be something these jurors are going to need to consider when they look at Karmelo's perspective, which they must do.
Absolutely. Let's take a listen to the defense.
But they won't, because all of them are non-black. and all the men in the jury are white, and you killed one of their sons. You killed a young white man. They're not going to look at Karmelo's position. They're going to look at the position of a dead Austin Metcalf. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. Now, we had some black people in that jury. Now, they're going to look at the size difference. They're going to consider that. But that's exactly what they didn't want. That's why there's no blacks in that jury anywhere. So they're not going to consider that size difference. Only black people would. Only black jurors would. Only black jurors.
Attorney Mike Howard. We didn't get to hear him because there are no cameras inside that courtroom, but before the gag order in this case, he did make a statement that was released. Let's watch.
We understand that this case has sparked strong reactions. Please remember that there are real human beings, kids, on both sides of this case.
King Fire
we ask that everyone do as the law requires and withhold judgment until all the evidence can be heard in court.
Joanna, I don't know how much you watch the comments online, but they have been very visceral, really ugly things are being said when it comes to this case. How do you think the outcome is going to impact things? And I object to the fact that there's no cameras inside because I think people need to see.
This is going to be ugly either way. Karmelo gets convicted. We black folks going to be upset because we know this is really self-defense. And, well, you know, we can take this thing back to the Rodney King days, allegedly. And let's say that Karmelo gets acquitted. And, you know, the white community feels like it's an injustice, you know. And we already know what they'll do. Like, when we to listen, we could talk about January 6th. We could talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma. We could talk about Seneca. We could talk about Rosewood. We have so many examples of what they'll do when they get active. We could talk about continents. They kidnapped the whole president and his baby mama out of Venezuela. You know what I mean? Like, we already know how they get active. So yeah, this is gonna have some it's gonna have some backlash either way. There's gonna be some things to follow up behind this, man. Definitely will be.
What happens no matter what the outcome is. But what are your thoughts on that and the jury that was picked in this case?
So the curious thing, I'll start with the jury, is that, you know, towards the end, 3 of the remaining African-American jurors were stricken. And one of the things that
We're not African-American. We're not. Don't say that again, young lady. Okay. Continue.
Commented on yesterday when I spoke about what I would be looking as a defense attorney is somebody who had a caretaking, nurturing responsibility, maybe somebody even like an educator or teacher. And it turns out that the race neutral reasoning that they gave for striking these jurors was that they were educators, and that's where this whole entire ordeal took place. However, we're starting with a jury that has no kind of diversity in terms of and relation or relatability to the person that's accused, and in the culture and understanding of like where fair.
Okay, nobody in that jury grow dreads, wear locks, wear afro, no nothing. Can't they not like us. And here they are with the lives of young Karmelo Anthony. They had the life of young Karmelo in their hands. And they don't share anything in common with him. God, this is sad, y'all. This is sad. This is sad, ladies and gentlemen.
You don't need to spend $300 on a plumber anymore. This little tool.
male, and what he experiences in his life and the way that impacts him and how he perceives threats is very different based on his race. And so I think that the lack of diversity on the panel in that regard is just not a good start. But do I think that that means that they impaneled an unfair or a partial or biased jury? No, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will
You lying. That is what that means. You lying. You can't say it. I'll say it for you. You lying. That's exactly what the hell that means. That is exactly what the hell that means. We cannot trust the verdict they deliver if they say guilty, y'all. We can't trust that. Ain't no black people on the jury. Ain't no black folks on the jury. They gonna come back and say guilty. We expect y'all to say that. This is a black young teenager. We know what y'all do. Your job is to lynch the hell out of them. So no, I'm not going to trust that verdict. Now, say if there were some people on that jury who looked like Karmelo, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with the verdict that they delivered. You know, but the only verdict they should be delivering is acquitted.
Slate to that, but I think it's a critical issue at the outset.
Critical issue that's definitely being talked about. Mario Gallucci, we have about 10 seconds. Who's the most important witness that is going to take the stand in this trial?
I would say the defendant in this type of case. I mean, it's his choice to do it, but a self-defense case, I believe, especially in this case, he would have to take the stand.
We will see what happens.
He's going to have to take the stand. He's going to have to convince the jury exactly what he felt that day, what he saw, how he was thinking, what his mind frame was, what gave him his fear, why he even had the knife in the first place. Lots of attorneys don't like for the victims to speak. Well, not the victims, the accused to speak. But in this case, he really has to. He really has to.
Mario, Joanna, and Nicole, thank you for lending your expertise this hour, helping us break down this case that so many of you are talking about. This helps. This absolutely helps. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. We've got to get to a break. But when we come back, we are going to take you back out there to Texas. We're paying attention to the notes. Cody Thomas is there inside. We will be letting you know what witnesses on the stand, what is being said, and what evidence is being shown to this jury.
All right, y'all, we're going to keep this going, you know. We're going to keep this going.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. Thank you for following along with us as we are out in the state of Texas. The big question is whether 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony murdered his fellow student, Austin Metcalf, or was it self-defense? Was it a justifiable homicide? That testimony is going on right now in Karmelo Anthony's murder trial in McKinney. Cameras are not allowed inside of this courtroom per the judge's order, but Court TV, we are on the ground and happening now inside of that courtroom. Cody Thomas just let us know through the notes, because he is there inside, that they are resuming the direct examination of that first witness that was called by the state, that forensic video analyst who testified to multiple wide-angled surveillance videos that the prosecution admitted were not crystal clear. Cody told us it's very grainy. He's having a very difficult time making out any faces, but he did see the father of the stabbing victim holding his head in his hands as that is playing, because even though it's difficult to see, everyone in that courtroom knows what is happening. The stabbing is happening, the death of Austin Metcalf. Now, something else Cody is saying is that they're talking about inside the courtroom enhancing the original videos that were provided with magnifying and spotlighting pertinent parts of the video. And he said they just rolled in a 4K TV to be compatible with the zoom enhancements, angled so the gallery can't see anything because it's a priority for the jury to see it. But of course, that is the priority inside of the courtroom for the jury to see it. So we may not know from the journalists who are there inside the courtroom how this enhanced video looks, but all very interesting, and it's coming in. We will keep you posted on what new happens inside of that courtroom. We've been talking about this case and why it's gotten so much attention. There's no escaping how polarizing it is, especially on social media. The families of both Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony, the defendant, they've spoken out about the emotional toll of this case. Take a listen.
I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I looked at my brother, and I'm not gonna talk about the rest. So just that's what I saw, and I tried to help him.
Why not gonna talk about the rest? Why? Why not gonna talk about the rest? Cause you was in on it too. You was bothering him. You were bothering him, huh?
He was the most amazing kid. Oh, so smart. He had college football guys looking at him to play in college just because the kid was mad. My son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about.
Well, we understand that courthouse is packed with spectators. There was a long line outside of the courthouse, people wanting to know what happens in this case, especially one where we don't have cameras, so people aren't able to live stream it like they often are. To talk about what we are hearing so far, what led up to this case, and what we can anticipate, let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor and the host of the Tangent True Crime podcast, Al Wunsch III is with us. Al, it's good to see you. This case is one that is going to be difficult for everyone involved. I don't envy any party in this case. What are your overall thoughts on what is going to be necessary for either side to get their case across to this jury?
Well, first of all, you started from the standpoint that the passion of sports in Texas is high. It's huge. It's unbelievable. I mean, my former high school, Don Bosco, played Texas, first New Jersey school to play in Texas. And
Divided States of America. Is that what she said, Storm? She said regardless of what you think happened between those Metcalf boys, and maybe she did say that kid. That kid would be her son. Yeah, good catch. Good catch. Damn. Let's run that back. Let's run that back. For validation purposes. Let's run that back.
I tried to help him.
He was the most amazing kid. Oh, so smart. He had college football guys looking at him to play in college just because the kid was mad. My son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about.
Well, we understand that courthouse is packed with
Oh, no, she said Karmelo. She said Karmelo. She said Karmelo.
spectators. There was a long line outside of the courthouse, people wanting to know what happens in this case, especially one where we don't have cameras, so people aren't able to live stream it like they often are. To talk about what we are hearing so far, what led up to this case, and what we can anticipate, let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor and the host of the Tangent True Crime podcast, Al Wunsch III is with us. Al, it's good to see you. This case is one that is going to be difficult for everyone involved.
I look like a Simpson character. Is that Mr. Burns? Is that Mr. Burns?
I don't envy any party in this case. What are your overall thoughts on what is going to be necessary for either side to get their case across to this jury?
well, first of all, you started from the standpoint that the passion of sports in Texas is high. It's huge. It's unbelievable. I mean, my former high school, Don Bosco, played Texas, first New Jersey school to play in Texas, and could not believe the way that the Friday night lights and all that kind of stuff is just incredible. So the passion that people have for sports and for their athletes is huge. Now, you take a situation where an individual comes into an area where he's not supposed to be at this track meet, and then an altercation occurs. It seems to me that is certainly possible because everyone's adrenaline is high and everything else, and there's, as I said, a passion for your team, for your teammates, and also not necessarily for your adversaries. But the part that blows my mind.
So why don't they do this in arenas? When the Bucks are playing, let's say the Bucks are playing the Falcons. 2 different states, right? 2 different states. You got Bucks fans and Falcons fans sitting in the same bleachers on the same side. If it's college football, I'm a Hurricane fan. You're going to have Hurricane fans and Florida State fans in the mix in the same bleachers in the same area, while these 2 teams are, you know what I'm saying, getting it in on the field, y'all. So I don't understand this concept. I don't understand this concept. Pay attention. They don't segregate you by team when you go to a game. They don't ask you what team do you like to sit on this side. You just simply go wherever the hell your seat tell you to go. Wherever your ticket tell you your seat is, that's where the hell you go. You don't know if you're going to be sitting next to a fan of your team or someone who's opposed to your team. You don't know. So we're getting away from true sportsmanship right here. He's making a calling cry, a dog whistle, to make it look like we don't need good sportsmanship in sports anymore. That's crazy.
Mind is like, who brings a knife to a track meet? I mean,
who takes a gun to a school? Who takes a gun to a supermarket? Who takes a pew-pew to a church? Who grapes little babies and chihuahuas? Who beats their women across the darn head and controls them? Who colonizes people? Who enslaves people? Who lies about their history? Who takes people resources and land? Who reclassifies people? Huh? And he's talking about a man, he better get my blood pressure up, pimping.
Played football in high school at a very big football high school. I played in college. I don't ever remember bringing a weapon to any one of my athletic events, and and I played in inner city games against Patterson and Passaic and Eastside in New Jersey. Tough inner city schools. I don't remember them bringing any weapons to any of these games. So it's going to be interesting because this trial will have to put the defendant on the stand. He's going to have to take the stand, and he's going to have to explain why.
Who jumps people out of school? Who take their dogs out to eat with them to shake fur and other people's food and shit in front of other people while they're eating? Huh? Who does that? Who does that? I'm just saying. I don't see how they trying to focus on a pocket knife when these SOBs be having, boy, y'all know what they do to public environments. Let's start from Columbine. We go to the Oklahoma City bombing. I mean, we can name some things. We can name 3 presidents they unalive. Trump would have been the 4th had they hit him in one of them 3 attempts. We could talk about Charlie Kirk. We know who did it. We know who did it. What are they talking about? A pocket knife? I was like, hey, y'all, are we talking about practice? We talking about practice right now. We talking about practice. I was like Allen Iverson, y'all. We talking about practice. Are we talking about practice right now?
He did, where he went, why he felt as uncomfortable as he did. But the question I have is, why do you have a knife?
You're highlighting something that the prosecution absolutely stated in their openings.
DA, you still here, DA? DA, you done been real quiet, DA. DA, you done been real. I thought DA was gone. I thought district attorney was gone. The DA is still here, y'all. Who follows a kid around a gated community that pick a fight and lose, then unallow them? Yeah. Yeah. We could ask so many of them questions, man. We could ask so many of them questions.
Statement. They wanted to get it out. I'll stand by, though. We have another guest that is also joining us remotely from outside of that courthouse. We have civil rights attorney and
ain't that bad compared to others. You can hang. Oh boy, you ain't saw me fired up yet. I'm glad you hanging in there right now. But if I happen to lose a subscriber, if you subscribe, at least I know it was you. You ain't heard me get loose yet. I love everybody, but I love the truth, man. I will tell the truth, man. I will tell the truth. So, DA, you all right with me, too. You all right with me, too. Look, y'all, I done made friends with a troll, y'all. I told y'all I'm working on it. I love some of the trolls, too. You know what I'm saying? I love some of the trolls, too. I just don't like the racist trolls. I can't deal with them.
Activist Lee Merritt with us. Lee, thanks so much for joining us. I know you were at that courthouse earlier today. I saw you posting on social media about the picking of the jury and the reaction to that. So tell me what you were able to observe when you were.
That's what's up, y'all. I made friends with a troll, man. Y'all put DA in the chat, man. Y'all put DA in the chat. Oh, this is a breakthrough, y'all. I done befriended a troll. He like the third friend I done made out the troll. Y'all put DA in the chat, y'all. DA ain't that bad. District attorney ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that bad, y'all. He ain't that bad, y'all.
There at the courthouse.
Well, the community is certainly out and interested. This happened not too far from where I live. And since then, the community has been on pins and needles. Everyone who...
DA says, this is the beginning of racial healing, people. Wait a minute, DA, you moved a little bit too fast. I don't know about that. It's going to take more than us, DA. But it's a start. I feel you. I feel you, DA. I feel you.
Was raising children in the area. As your other speaker pointed out, this is a sports, community, high school sports, track, football. That's something that is going to be at the heart of this area. And what I saw this morning was a very diverse community who's invested in the outcome, in a courtroom that doesn't seem to be prepared to deal with that kind of attention.
And Lee, I'm going to follow up with a question about, actually a question I think we talked about 5 years ago when we would have been down in Brunswick, Georgia. The
Ahmaud Arbery, I bet you. Brunswick, Georgia, 5 years ago, Ahmaud Arbery.
The jury and the makeup of the jury. And there was only one African-American on that jury. And it's similar questions that are here when though there are people.
We're not African-American. Quit calling yourselves that. Stop that. We're not African-American. You ain't never been to Africa. Then why ain't they European-Americans? Huh? Why ain't they Russian-Americans? Why ain't they Western Americans? Caucasus Mountains Americans? You are not an African. Stop it. Damn it, Jesse Jackson and indoctrinated y'all. Stop it.
People of color on this jury that has been picked, there are no African Americans.
Oh, Lord. She said African Americans and people of color. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. She's lost in the sauce, y'all. Lost in the sauce, y'all. Damn. You just don't even know who she is. You don't even know who she is. But go ahead, though. Carry on.
That's right. And as I pointed out, this is a community that I live in. It's a community that is conservative, that politically leans Republican.
But this is a diverse community. The group of jurors who first appeared were black, brown, white, and represented the cross sections in this community. It's unfortunate that every qualified black juror was struck by the prosecution. And in this case, I know the prosecutor, Bill Werski, said race had nothing to do with it, but he did receive Batson challenges. Those are challenges.
Assemble it. I like it. Assemble it. I like it.
Is from the defense saying you have to explain why these black jurors were taken out. We did see something similar happen in Ahmaud Arbery's case, in the case of the McMichaels for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, and ultimately a nearly all-white jury in that case came to what I believe to be the right conclusion and convicted those men of that heinous crime. And I do believe even an all-white jury can get it right here as well.
Lee, I want to ask you about something.
I don't believe that. Hell no. Hell no. I don't believe that. Hell no. Hell no. They got it right in the case where a white man unalived a black man. They are going to get it terribly wrong in the case where a black man had to unalive a white boy for self-defense. Hell no. Now you're asking too much of white America. You're asking too much of white America. Hell no. They ain't got that kind of honesty. They ain't got that type of moral compass. This is a black man that unalived a white man for self-defense. Down to self-defense, you unalived a white man. We got to cook you, boy. Hell no, you putting too much trust in white America now. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. I don't see that happening. Hell no.
That Al mentioned. Al is staying with us all hours. I want to get as many questions as I can to you. I know you have to go back to following this case out there in McKinney, Texas. But the question of the knife being at a school, that is something that I would imagine outrages a community. We see it when there are school shootings. Why is there a weapon on the campus? Because we know children don't have the capacity to handle guns. This is a knife, a little bit different.
Karmelo wasn't at a school. You're giving misinformation. He was not on school grounds. The school was 5 to 10 miles up the road. This was a community function. Something like a boys club or some type of recreation center or something. Had nothing to do with oh my God. People tell the truth. Damn. You sambo that.
In terms of whether or not he would have been in trouble for having it in a different place. How does that play into it? What are the rules there at that school, if you know?
That was something certainly during the opening that the entire community was listening for, was because there was a rumor that it wasn't a knife, that it was a track spike. But the prosecution leaned in to the idea, to the argument that there was a knife that was used in this incident. And it is not a fact that trends in support of the self-defense claim. At events like this, track meets, students bring a great deal of equipment. They bring spikes, they bring ropes.
Took you country. What's up? Took you country?
Tents. Sometimes the tents can use certain kind of pocket knives. I don't know what kind of knife was used here, but actually at a track meet, having tools for setting up the tent, having tools for preparing yourself for whatever event you're participating in is not out of the ordinary. But a knife is very different than a spike track. So the fact that the evidence is coming in as it was in fact a knife does not bode well for the defense.
I don't know if you were able to see the surveillance video before that. I know the general public was not able to see the surveillance video. Did anything about that surveillance video played in court today surprise you?
Okay, y'all, I'm going to get off of here, do a little bit more research. I should be back streaming. I'm going to take me an old man nap. You know what I mean? I done ate myself sleeping. So, I'll be back, man. But we got to do it better. We got to, man. I don't know why they're not sending out notifications, man. I don't know why YouTube is hating on me again, y'all. I go through this all the time. All the time, but it's okay, y'all. I'm resilient. I'm resilient. I'm going to keep going. They will not discourage me. They will not discourage me. Until we meet again, tribe. Y'all know what to do, man. Get your one-on-one. Get your one-on-one. Get your one-on-one with the real indigenous internal spiritual most high. You know what I'm saying? Y'all stay prayed up, stay blessed up, stay meditated up, stay protected. Stay real, stay conscious, stay uncut. Be inspired. Be great. Be you. And man, stop turning the other damn cheek. Alright? Stop singing and start swinging. Ashe!